Previously on the last video, and when I see Across the Spiderverse in theaters, I am going to be doing a ranking video of all the Spider-Man films from best to worst. So, stay tuned for that video coming soon, and I'll see you all later. Comments, and stay tuned for the Spider-Man ranking video. What's up, guys? This is your friendly neighborhood extreme Spidey guy here. Excuse me. And today, I'm going to be doing a Spider-Man movies ranking video from best to worst. So what I meant by Spider-Man movies, I was meaning the movies with Spider-Man. The Venom movies and Morbius will not be on this list. So without further ado, let's get started. Coming in at number 10 is The Amazing Spiderman 2. Now, this movie is obviously my least favorite Spider-Man movie and the worst Spider-Man movie ever, in my opinion. Now, I know people can say like Spider-Man 3 is the worst Spider-Man movie ever. I disagree with you, and I can handle your opinion. But The Amazing Spider-Man 2 feels way too overstuffed. It has too many characters in it. The villains are all cartoonish, especially Green Goblin, Rhino, and Electro. And Electro looks like a Sith Lord in a hoodie. The Amazing Spider-Man movies really had potential to be like the Sam Raimi movies. But because the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man movies made less than the Tobey Maguire movies, a third one was scrapped, which really sucks because we could have at least gotten the Amazing Spider-Man 3 to help fix the Amazing Spider-Man 2. But at least Spider-Man was given back to Marvel, and I'm glad that Sony and Marvel actually made a partnership for Spider-Man. Well, for the positives, I can say Andrew Garfield, Emma Stone, and Sally Field, Stan Lee's cameo, Spider-Man's suit, and maybe like the Spider-Man music by Paul Francis Weber. So, overall, I am giving this movie a 4.5 out of 10. Coming in at number 9 is SpiderMan 3. Now, I never hated this movie at all. I always enjoyed it, and I always will. Now, I know people can say this is the worst Spider-Man movie ever, but I would disagree with you. The Amazing Spider-Man 2 for me is still the worst Spider-Man movie ever, in my opinion, but at least it's not as horrible as Morbius and Transformers Age of Extinction, including Batman and Robin and Fant Four Stick. Now, the only problems I can say from this movie are Topher Grace's Venom, the underused of the symbiote Spider-Man suit, and Gwen Stacy didn't need to be in the film. But other than that, I still enjoy this movie for what it is, and I do like Thomas Hayden Church as the Sandman, and his backstory felt very emotional in my opinion, and he should have been like the main antagonist of the movie, not Venom. And Sam Raimi didn't even like Venom in the first place, because you already had two villains in the movie, you have the new Goblin, which is Harry Osborn, and Sandman. This is studio interference. Sony or Avi Arad should have listened to Sam Raimi in the first place. But I do like Bully Maguire in this movie as well. I know people can hate him, but I do enjoy him in my opinion. And I do like the new Goblin, especially the battle with Harry Osborn and Peter Parker. And the movie becomes like a cartoon at the first second, where excuse me, J. Jonah Jameson tries to find his cyanide pills as well. And I would say, as for Topher Grace, I actually prefer him more as Interstellar. In my, I actually prefer him more in Interstellar, in my opinion. And this is obviously the weakest movie in the Sam Raimi trilogy, but it's still a guilty pleasure for me, and I always enjoy it for what it is. And I'm going to give this movie a 9.5 out of 10. Coming in at number 8 is Spider-Man Homecoming, the film that helped started the MCU Spider-Man movie and the full first appearance of Spider-Man in the MCU since Captain America Civil War. Now, I really enjoy this movie for what it is. I do like Tom Holland. Tom Holland definitely nailed it. Nailed his performance as Spider-Man in this movie. And him and Robert Downey Jr. actually have great chemistry in this movie, like in Civil War. Michael Keaton definitely nailed it as the Vulture. Jon Favreau was still awesome as always as Happy Hogan. Marissa Tomei did good as Aunt May. But I do like Rosemary Harris and Sally Fields as Aunt May, because Marissa Tomei's Aunt May, despite being good, she felt more like a mother than an aunt. The final battle was definitely awesome. Ned was definitely a good comic relief in this film. And I like Peter's diary with about his trip with fighting Captain America and Captain America Civil War. Excuse me. Now, if there are any bad qualities I have with this movie, I would say Flash Thompson and his line, Penis Parker. Like, if this movie is PG-13, then why do you have penis in this movie? Like, that makes no sense, including a porn joke as well. MJ felt underused, but thankfully she's used more in Far From Home and No Way Home. And that's probably it, and I'm going to give it a 9.5 out of 10. Coming in at number 7 is The Amazing Spider-Man. Now, this movie is very underrated in my opinion, just like with Spider-Man 3. Andrew Garfield definitely nailed it as Spider-Man, and I like the tone, how it was going to compete with like The Dark Knight. Well, although Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man does do quips, but I'd say the more serious Spider-Man in action would have to be the Japanese Spider-Man. Emma Stone definitely nailed it as Gwen Stacy, and Emma Stone is definitely the best live-action Gwen Stacy in my opinion. Rhys Ifans definitely did a good job playing Kirk Connors, even though my second bad quality of the movie would be the the lizard never really had a British accent in the cartoon, but at least Rhys Ifans did a good job in this movie, and I do like him in Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 1. And the battles are definitely awesome, and and Martin Sheen and Sally Fields definitely do a great job playing Aunt May and Uncle Ben. Now, if there are any bad qualities I have with this film, is that despite Andrew Garfield nailing it, he didn't really look like Peter Parker and just looked more like Harry Osborn. But Andrew Garfield is still talented, in my opinion, and the origin story kind of felt like a ripoff. No. The origin story felt kind of more like a rehash of the first Sam Raimi film, but at least they did the origin story like with what they did with the Sam Raimi film, and at least flashbacks of it, like with the origin story from the Sam Raimi film was in Across the Spiderverse, including the origin of the Spectacular Spider-Man. And beyond the Spider-Verse, maybe they'll show like Tom Holland's origin story if they can. Excuse me. And I'm probably going to give this movie maybe like a 9 out of 10. Coming in at number 6 is Spider-Man Far From Home. Excuse me. Now, this is a great sequel in my opinion. And the movie does a great job like recapping Avengers Endgame, which is my favorite movie of all time with Avengers Infinity War. Tom Holland is still awesome as always as Peter Parker, aka Spider-Man, along with Samuel L. Jackson as Nick Fury. Jake Gyllenhaal definitely nailed it as Mysterio. MJ is actually used in this movie a lot this time than in Spider-Man Homecoming. And at least Flash Thompson improves his behavior. And at least he has a little bit of screen time in Spider-Man No Way Home. I definitely liked Martin Starr's character, including J.B. Smoobs' character, including his iconic line, "Oh no, they joined forces like the Power Rangers." And they also mentioned like Voltron in this movie as well. The battles are definitely awesome, including the visual effects. And I definitely love like the Spider-Man suits in this movie, including the shield suit and the suit that that Happy Hogan creates. And Jon Favreau is still awesome as always as Happy Hogan. Now, if there's one bad quality I could say, it would have to be Brad Davis. But anyways, that doesn't stop me from enjoying it, and I'm going to give it a 10.5 out of 10. Coming in at number 5 is the Spider-Man movie from 2002. Now, this movie is definitely a masterpiece, in my opinion. Tobey Maguire definitely nailed it as Spider-Man, along with Kristen Dunst as Mary Jane Watson, and with James Franco as Harry Osborn, including Rosemary Harris as Aunt May, Cliff Robertson as Uncle Ben, Willem Dafoe as Norman Osborn, aka the Green Goblin, Joe Manganiello, I can't pronounce his last name right, as Flash Thompson, and he is the one, and he is the best Flash Thompson in my opinion, because he's a jock. Yes, he's a bully, but still, he is a jock like in the comics. The origin story in the film is definitely awesome. The action is awesome as well. The final battle is awesome. The opening was awesome. And Sam Raimi nailed the direction in the film, including J. Jonah Jameson nailing his performance, including J.K. Simmons nailing his performance as J. Jonah Jameson, and no other actor can probably play J. Jonah Jameson in a modern-day Spider-Man film outside of J.K. Simmons, which is the reason why he reprised his role in Spider-Man Far From Home and No Way Home. And I'm going to give this movie a full solid 10 out of 10. Coming in at number 4 is SpiderMan 2. Now, this movie is one of the best comic book movies I've ever seen and one of the best sequels I've ever seen in my life. Tobey Maguire, Kristen Dunst, and James Franco, including J.K. Simmons, still give awesome performances as always. Alfred Molina definitely nailed it as Dr. Octopus. I definitely like the story of how when Peter loses his powers and then becomes Spider-Man again. John Jameson was definitely a good character in this movie, and I definitely love J.K. Simmons' iconic quote, "You serious?" And which also became like an internet meme, I think. And also another iconic quote where Tobey Maguire hurts his back, which the movie does have a lot of, which is also an iconic meme as well. The battles are definitely awesome, including the train battle and the final battle. The visuals are definitely awesome as always. The direction by Sam Raimi is still awesome as always. And I'm going to give this movie a full solid 10 out of 10. Coming in at number 3 is Spider-Man No Way Home. Now, this is the best live-action Spider-Man movie, in my opinion. Tom Holland and Benedict Cumberbatch still give awesome performances, as always, as Peter Parker, aka Spider-Man, and Doctor Strange. MJ and Ned are still great supporting characters, as always. Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield definitely do a great job reprising their roles as Peter Parker, both of them, along with Willem Dafoe, Alfred Molina, Rhys Ifans, and Thomas Hayden Church. And thankfully, they redeemed Electro in this movie. And the visuals are still awesome as always, including the battles. And the final battle was definitely stole the show, because that was my favorite part of the movie. And even though Tobey Maguire is my favorite Spider-Man actor of all time, this is the best live-action Spider-Man movie, in my opinion. Tom being the second best, and Tom Holland being the second best Spider-Man actor, and Andrew Garfield being the third. And J.K. Simmons definitely did an awesome job reprising his role full-time as J. Jonah Jameson, and no other actor can probably play J. Jonah Jameson better in a modern-day Spider-Man film than J.K. Simmons. Because if you brought in a different actor to play J. Jonah Jameson, it would be less entertaining. And I'm going to give this movie a full solid 10 out of 10. Coming in at number 2 is Spider-Man Into the Spiderverse. Now, this movie definitely saved Sony Pictures Animation after that god-awful Emoji Movie. The comic book animation was definitely awesome. Shameik Moore, Haley Steinfeld nailed their voice performances as Miles Morales and Gwen Stacy. Jake Johnson and Chris Pine definitely nailed their voice roles as both Peter Parkers. Liev Schreiber definitely nailed it as the Kingpin, and he was definitely an awesome antagonist in this movie. Like, His backstory felt emotional, in my opinion, and Spider Ham was definitely a great supporting character comic relief, along with Spider-Man Noir, voiced by Nicolas Cage, including Penny Parker, were great supporting characters as well. The battles are definitely awesome. The backstory, Spider-Man telling how he became popular, was definitely awesome. And the post-credit scene was definitely awesome as well, when Spider-Man 2099, voiced by Oscar Isaac, was going into the original Spider-Man cartoon from 1966, where they do this iconic pointing. I think it's from the Spider-Man no, I meant 1967. Let me see. Just give me a second. I think it was from the episode Double Identity as well. And the ending scene was definitely awesome, telling how Miles Morales became Spider-Man. And I'm going to give this movie a full solid 10 out of 10. Coming in at number 1 is Spider-Man Across the Spiderverse. Now, this is the best Spider-Man movie ever, in my opinion, and even better than Into the Spider-Verse. Just like how Spider-Man 2 was better than the first Spider-Man, in my opinion, even though I enjoyed both of those movies, along with Into the Spider-Verse. The voice acting is still awesome as always, including from Shameik Moore, Jake Johnson, and Haley Steinfeld. Oscar Isaac definitely nailed it as Spider-Man 2099. The Spot was definitely a great villain. Spider-Woman was definitely a great supporting character. Peter's baby was definitely cute. The animation is still awesome as always. The Spider-Man variants are definitely great supporting characters as well, including the Spectacular Spider-Man variant, voiced by Josh Keaton. And it was actually nice seeing Josh Keaton reprising his role as Spider-Man since Marvel Capcom 3 and maybe because of the Spectacular Spider-Man returning in this movie, and maybe in Beyond the Spider-Verse, maybe there'll be a good chance that we'll probably get a wake-up call for Greg Weisman to make the Spectacular Spider-Man Season 3. Because it was canceled after Season 2 because of Disney! But anyways, if you can bring Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield back in Spider-Man No Way Home, and the Spectacular Spider-Man back in this movie, you can bring all three, Maguire and Garfield, back in Spider-Man 4 and the Amazing Spiderman 3, and also and we can also probably get the Spectacular Spider-Man Season 3 one day. And the ending is definitely one of the most cliffhangers I've seen since Empire Strikes Back, the first two Lord of the Rings, and Avengers Infinity War. Which both The Empire Strikes Back is my third favorite movie of all time behind which The Empire Strikes Back is my third favorite movie of all time behind The Dark Knight, Avengers Infinity War and Endgame, and Avengers Infinity War is definitely my favorite movie of all time tied with Avengers Endgame. And I'm going to give this movie a full solid 10 out of 10. So here's how I rank all the Spider-Man movies, in my opinion. And if you disagree with me, I can handle your opinion as well. Like, this is my list, and you can tell me your ranking in the comments below. So here's how my ranking goes. Across the Spiderverse, Into the Spiderverse, No Way Home, SpiderMan 2, SpiderMan 2002, Far From Home, The Amazing Spider-Man, Homecoming, SpiderMan 3, and The Amazing Spider-Man 2. But anyways, I will be doing a 2024 edition of my Spider-Man movie ranking once I see Beyond the Spider-Verse in theaters. So until next time, I'll see you all later.